It's over. Time to say it again, Boston. Anything's possible. Banner number 18 has been secured. Brown goes inside. Oh, what a slam from Jaylen Brown. Oh, Pritchard banks in the three at the buzzer. Great in and out dribble. Oh, he set off the smoke detector.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to your Celtics source. Changing it up here in the offseason. Big Poppy taking the lead here. I'm going to go number one. This season was a failure. That's okay. We learned from our failures. We got to get better. We're going to spend this time talking about what's our 1, 2, 3 year plan to get back to banner 19. First, let's take a moment. Let's pause. Zach, give me instant reactions to this season. What do you think?
Yeah, it was definitely a failure. Celtics trying to repeat a ship is for the first time since the 60s, 70s with Bill Russell. This team down the stretch just got absolutely destroyed by injuries. You had the Jason Tatum injury, obviously. Jaylen Brown dealing with the torn meniscus, which we'll talk about a little bit in a second. You have Sam Hauser missing multiple games with the ankle injury. You have KP who just couldn't breathe. I mean, he low-key could have been in a hospital for some of the stuff he was dealing with.
I think all that's legitimate, and this team still underperformed by a wide margin. You losing 7 to the Pacers in the AL, in the East, because they just crush it, maybe. You lose in the finals, maybe. Losing to the Knicks in round 2, it's failure. That's okay. That's okay. You can't win them all. We got to get better. So we got to make tough choices here. We, of course, are advisors to the advisors for Brad Stevens. We don't call the shots, but we are somewhat influential with our voices. So we're going to make some recommendations to Brad here. Brad, I hope you're reading my texts. Lead us into our choices. We got to get below the second apron, right? Do we think that's our table stakes here?
Yeah, I agree. I think there's 3 main options you can do. Right? We'll start with, just the salary that the Celtics are dealing with and the consequences for their decision. Right? Current salary is $231 million. That's just the players, the salary. With that, because they're in the 4th year of being over the second apron, they pay $263 million in taxes, which is a total of $494 million for just the payroll. For every new contract that they spend $5 million on, they spend an average of $25 million on taxes alone.
Now, it's not our money, but it also comes with, as everybody knows, all the limitations around trading, taking back contracts, draft picks. So if this team's, and it's built for competitiveness, right? Nobody wants to see even the Celtics win every year for 20 straight years. That's not a good league. That's not a good product. So we have to, I think, respect the goal of competitive balance in sport, because that's what makes it fun, right?
They've done a fantastic job, right? There hasn't been a back-to-back champion in 8 years. This new era of just
makes
one
it very hard.
Has basically, they've gone absolute perfect on their plan.
Perfect. We'll put the Mavericks draft pick aside for a second. I'm perfect on their plans, but so we have to drop something like $50 million in payroll. Is that right? What's the number? Do we know exactly here?
It's a little bit lower. You have to drop about $80 million to get below that second apron, but you don't have to drop completely. You can get some stuff just by dropping a little bit.
So remind us what the cutoff for the second apron is?
I believe it's 188.
188. So we actually, and current salary is 231. So we really only have to drop 43 million of salary. Is that right? Okay, 43 million of salary. I'm going to go bold here. I'm going to say you have 2 options. 2 options here. 1, move Brown. It's going to be fine after the knee, torn meniscus, totally manageable. 60, 90 days, he's going to be fine. So option number 1, and I'm not saying we should do this, move Brown. I'm gonna say option number 2, you move Porzingis and Holiday, or Porzingis, Holiday, and Hauser, and really try and free up the ability to go get somebody else. Now, you might have to move someone with Brown, too. You might have to move Hauser with Brown or something. So those, to me, are the two big options. What do you think?
I'm sort of torn on the Brown decision because I think we all know this team, you want to keep Jason Tatum, Derek White, and Peyton Pritchard. I think those are the three guys that you want to keep on this team for sure.
Interesting.
Everyone else is on the table, I think. And
hang on, because that's a bold comment that Brown is on the table. For many people, Brown is untouchable. Last year's MVP, finals, but for you, he's not off the table. He's on the table.
He's not my decision. That's not what I would do, but I think he's on the table.
Okay, but the other guys are not on the table. Okay.
I would go Holiday and Porzingis. I think those are the easiest. They make the most. You could also, right, Horford has a minimum deal. Kornet could leave. So if you don't want to pay Kornet and Horford, that drops around $20 million right there.
Well, I think the question is, whatever you do to get below the apron, you're going to lose what? Big size in the paint, right? That's the Horford, Kornet, Porzingis lane.
Yeah.
Ready? Wait. So whatever you do, you're going to either lose size in the paint, Horford, Porzingis, Kornet. Some combination of those guys aren't going to be here, right? Can't be. Or you're going to lose ball handling, shooting, right? Defense at the perimeter. Jrue Holiday, Hauser, Brown. So those are the camps. Where do we have more depth? Because we're going to bridge next year, I think, right? We're going to make the playoffs. We'll see how we do. And I think we're looking the year after when Tatum's fully healthy. That's the year when maybe we can make the run again in 2 years. So how do you bridge it best and set yourself up on a 2-year plan here?
Here's the thing. With Horford and Kornet expiring contracts and Porzingis possibly leaving, you have almost no centers. You have no centers.
Well, you can. I'm sure we can re-sign Kornet. I think he's happy here. I think he would take. I don't know about a huge discount, but I think you can re-sign Kornet, and maybe Horford. We'll see where he wants, but maybe he wants to come back, and those guys can get you through the next year. I don't know, and you can tell me if you think I'm wrong, but I love Luke Kornet. He doesn't feel like an everyday 38-minute, 35-minute starter to me yet. He's just not quite there.
It's hard to play because he doesn't shoot threes. And they love their threes.
So and his defense is, it's great, but he's not Porzingis. He's not an elite center at his prime. And so the question is, how much do you need that? Because as we know, a healthy Porzingis changes everything on the court, right? Same with Anthony Davis, some of the big guys, right? They just change the game, right? Wemby. So what are we going to do? How are we going to solve this?
You're not keeping Porzingis. Too unreliable. He has to be on. He has to go, I think.
Okay. So Porzingis out the door. That's $30 million. 33. Okay. And we'll see what we get back for that. So, but again, we got to get to $43 million. So we're going to go take $32 million. 30, what is it? 33, 32? Do you remember?
I believe 33.
33. Okay. So now we're down to 10 million. Hang on now. We're going to add Luke Kornet back at what? $10 million a year? That's 15. 3-year deal at 15. Yeah. Okay. So now we're back to 25. We got to cut, right? But we got Kornet. And let's just say we can get Horford back on a 1-year team-friendly. I don't know why he would be team-friendly because it's not like they can make a run, but $5-10 million. Got
to get it lower than that.
I don't think you're going to. Why would he? He could go to a contender. He doesn't have to stay with the Celtics. I think he likes it here. I did just hear, this is a breaking news. I heard this on the hard, mean streets of Brookline, where he lives here in Boston, put his house up for sale. So that's the word on the street. I don't know what that means.
I did see that as well.
Did he buy another place? Is he moving? I mean, he's not probably going to stay in Boston forever once he's done playing. So
I think he wants to go back to Florida where he grew up.
I would think so, right? It's close to the DR where his, family and everything. So, I don't think that's a sign of anything necessarily. Like, maybe he wants to move the kids ahead of one more year. I don't know. But okay, so we're at 25 million. And I'm going to add Horford on one more year at 10 million. We'll keep him flat. So now we got to drop 35 million to get below the apron, right?
Well, no, because you're adding him for 10, but he was getting paid like 18 this year.
No, I think he was on 10.
Really?
I thought he was thought he was 10. Let's go get the interns going. So while our squirrels look that up, if that math is right, we're at 35. We got to drop, and we have Porzingis out the door, and we have no new talent. So haven't made actually any progress here yet. What do we? Did the squirrels find that number yet?
In 2022, I see he was on an 18 mil. In 2023, 10 mil.
10 mil. I think, yeah. So we're at 35 million. Porzingis is out the door. Kornet and Horford are staying, right? But we still got to drop 35 million at least. So where's that going to come from? I think we know.
I think it's Holiday.
Let me ask you a question, though.
Could be Hauser.
Let me ask you a question. Let me challenge you on this. What would you ship Brown at 50, 55? Can you win in 2 years with, Tatum, White, and Pritchard as your starting three at the top there? Don't have Holiday.
You're dealing with, a smaller backcourt. It's gonna be hard for Payne Pritchard to defend.
You're losing two of your top defenders, right? Like Holiday and Brown. Mm-hmm. So it's gonna be hard.
People think of White as like a great defender, and he's a great defender. He's a great off-ball defender. Jaylen Brown is a much better on-ball defender guarding.
I agree.
The guards and whatever.
Yeah, I think that's spot on. I think Holiday too. Although, Holiday's 35, right? So
that's why I don't want to keep Holiday, because I just don't think in 2 years, what are you getting from a 37-year-old Al?
Okay. Holiday? I think that's right. Jaylen Brown, maybe he's overpaid, maybe he's not overpaid, but he's still in his prime. He's got 5 years left on prime, right? Okay, so we got to drop 35 million. Holiday's at 30, somewhere in the 30-35 range, right? Let's go. God, the squirrels did not do their homework today. Let's get that interns. Come on. So we're going to pull that number for you, but that's basically going to get us to break even on the second apron.
4-year 135, which brings us to 33, 34.
Okay. So we're $1 million over, $2 million over, something like that. So basically, just to recap here, we've shipped Porzingis. We maybe get player and salary back for that. We don't know, right?
You'll get at least draft picks.
Yeah, but draft picks don't hit the salary cap, so whatever, right? Like we don't, I would be fine with that because I don't even need a player for next year.
That's the thing. It doesn't. The Celtics. The problem is not the money. I don't think that's the problem here. I think it's all the freezing and all the stuff that you don't get because you're over.
Don't underestimate the money. Even billionaires have a limit. They didn't get to be billionaires by just burning $500 million a year and like losing in the second round of the playoffs. So I think you ship Holiday, you ship Porzingis, you're still going to have to drop $10 million more, assuming we've got Kornet at 15 and we got Horford back at 10. Now, maybe Horford doesn't come back and there's your $10 million right there, right? And you just keep Hauser, right? And you spend that 10 on, a serviceable big man, right? I don't know who that is. I don't know who you're going to get for $10 million.
You're not getting much for 10 mil.
But again, maybe we don't care. Maybe we don't care. Maybe we need to look at the season as a get right next season. Focus on. I mean, I hate to say that, but like, I don't think you're going to contend without Tatum. So if you're not going to contend without Tatum, call it what it is, and let's look towards the year
back
after.
in February, and if you're in the top 6 or even in a winning record, that's in the playoffs in the Eastern
That's-
Conference.
So that's a valid point. I worry a lot about Tatum.
He's going
I
to
think
try and
it's
rush back and come back too soon, and I'm really hoping that the doctors stop him from doing that.
doctors don't make the call. Doctors can only give advice.
I know, but
So
Jason Tatum makes the call.
I mean, here's the worst case. Here's the worst case scenario. It's actually a team in February with like 35 wins, 40 wins or 40 wins, right? Something like that, and they're tracking to win. I don't know quite the math I didn't do in my head, but they're tracking to win 50 games, right? Or something like that, or 48 games, 45 games. So you're going to be like, oh, if he comes back, I can push us to the 4 seed or the 5 seed, and like we can make a run here. And he comes back too soon because they're actually playing well. The other side is they play 500 ball, they get the 8 seed, and it's miserable to watch all season. So,
I mean, you've picked in the bottom half of the draft the last 3 years. You got to get some development from these guys. It's got to be a year that you can improve on Jordan Walsh, Bill Sharman. They got to be playing big minutes, especially if this team's not going anywhere.
I like that. I like that idea. I mean, if it were me, I would be resetting the apron and trying to win in 26, 27. That's what I would be doing.
Here's the nice thing. If you can get under, then that resets the clock. So you
Right.
can go back up for 4 years and not have the tax.
You still get the
yes,
the
but
cascading power.
it's not the 25 million for every 5 million contract, along with no draft picks, frozen picks, can't trade, can't send cash.
Yeah. I think we move Porzingis. I think we move Holiday. I think we don't even want players back. I think we want to build more draft capital, in my opinion.
I agree, but here's the thing: it's no team is going to just want to take these guys, with their big contracts for a reason. So the Celtics are going to have to send cash with them,
Sure.
and then pay their contract, but not pay the taxes with them.
Yeah, but if you think about that, that is, I mean, it's if you got the money in your pocket, you got 2 choices: a bad choice and a worse choice. Okay, there are no great choices here, right? So you got a bad choice and a worse choice. The bad choice is you're going to eat the $50 million anyway, but instead of just having to eat 50 million of contract money, you don't have to eat the other 100 in penalties, right? Like, so you're going to eat some money, and you probably don't have to eat it all, right? You probably got to eat half of it, maybe. I don't know. It depends where they go. I still think Operation Fleece the Nets is the best plan. We're going to go back to the well on this one. It served us really well to set us up for this championship. So I'm going back to Operation Fleece the Nets. We're going to ship Porzingis and Holiday to the Nets so they can try and win now. We're going to get a whole bunch of great draft picks, and we'll pay the money. I think that's the play.
They're the only one that has the cap space to do that.
Why would they do that, though? It's a terrible choice. I mean, they're not the Jets.
There's no good options for any team. There are 2 options out there on the table. You can try and get Kevin Durant. You can try and go get Giannis.
I mean, Kevin Durant.
I don't think Giannis is on the table, but I think Kevin Durant could be an option.
Sure, but how many years Kevin Durant have left? 2, 3? And he's not really a center. I mean, he's a wing. He's like,
He's still got to play with the center, but he could.
Yeah, so I don't know that. I prefer the Giannis move, to be honest, if I had to pick. But again, why? Like, if Giannis wants out, fine, they got to let him out because they got to get something in return for him. But like,
he wants to go to a winning team, though. Why would he come here? He'd go to a team where he thinks he can contend as.
Well, I think on this team, he thinks he could immediately contend.
Oh, sure, but what would you do with Jason Tatum if he came back?
Yeah. I mean, let's think about where those players go individually. I think, and I hate to say this out loud because I know they haven't thought of this, but uh, I mean, the obvious play is Porzingis to the Lakers on the rest of the year and give them a shot to win a title.
You know they're not thinking that.
I know.
Not a chance they're sending it, but that is the best option because the Lakers can give you a lot of good things, and you don't have to play them until the finals. So why not?
Yeah. Yep.
You
I mean,
just hope. You just
you
hope that
you
that
set
he
them up to win.
unfortunately gets injured. I mean,
Oh, it's going to be just like Chris Sale. Like, oh, we're tired of waiting. Let's send him to the Braves. It's a Cy Young year, right? So it's like, but I think you got to be okay with that. I think you got to run that risk. I mean, first of all, we only want Kristaps to be healthy. Like, we don't ever want a
yeah,
player to
but
be.
I think the Lakers realize he's not going to be healthy either.
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
they
it's
need him the way the Celtics need him. Like, they can conserve him and, get him healthy at the right time. Like, we tried to, and we almost did in like this weird respiratory thing. So, but I mean, I think that's option one. But like, if you think about who will actually pay value for a year of Kristaps as a rental, the Lakers will pay because they see it and they're right. They're right there. What about the Rockets?
the Rockets, I think, are going to go for Giannis. You have picks. You have a lot of young guys. I think Giannis is the best option for that team. They're going to try and go for him. They'll be an instant contender with him.
Yeah, yeah. Who else? Who else is a fit here?
For the Rockets,
No, for
so
Porzingis.
for Zingis, um, a lot of teams don't want him, right? Like he's been really injured. Like I don't think
Yeah.
you're going to be able to get much for him. You got to just eat his contract, and not pay the taxes.
Oh, maybe that's how you. Maybe you
Here's
need to package him
yeah.
with Hauser, where you actually got value.
Here's the problem though. He's not a free agent, so you got to find a team that is willing to take at least some of the money, or he's staying on this team. You don't have a choice.
Well, you can pay. You can just eat the money, right?
Yeah, but if you eat the money, why would you just let him? You wouldn't let him go.
Because then you get below the apron, right? Is the point? Like you got to get below the apron. I feel like. And look, maybe Tatum comes back February, March, 1 year. I don't know. I don't know. I think you ship Porzingis. I think you ship Holiday, and you keep Brown. And if you have to package Hauser and Davidson and some other value with those guys to get back your draft capital, I think that's your play.
No, we can't be messing with the G League. You're not getting Davidson's not going anywhere.
Why not?
But he won G League MVP this year, and you still realize there's such a huge gap between the NBA and the G League.
Yeah. I mean, there's teams where he could be your 8 or 9 guy. It's not crazy. You think? I mean, look at Neesmith. He was like the end of the bench for us, and he starts for the Pacers. I know. I'm just saying, like other teams, Peyton Pritchard is a starting guard on most NBA teams. 2/3 of NBA.
He's also your classic guard that doesn't play defense.
I'm just saying he's a starting guard on 2/3 of NBA teams. Hauser is a starting guy on 40 or 50% of the teams, 30% of the teams. Like just because they're so far down our depth chart doesn't mean they don't have value for other guys higher up.
Yeah, I actually think Payne Pritchard will start next year for the Celtics.
And Jrue in Holiday's place.
Someone's place. Maybe Holiday. Yeah, probably most likely Holiday.
And then who starts in Tatum's place while he's injured?
I think you run a lot of double big if we have
Keita, Kornet, Horford, Kornet.
You could also put, yeah, we're very thin on backcourt when Tatum's down.
Yeah. Let's think about Keita. I mean, should we ship him? I mean, he could become, he really fell off this year. He started strong, but he could be a Robinson character, right? Like we just saw in the Knicks.
He has better free throw percentage, I'll tell you that.
Sure does. So,
it's hard with any of these bench guys because I feel like you have to ship 3 or 4 just to get or 2 or 3 just to get one back. And you can't lose. You got to have depth at some point. Like, you can't.
Yeah.
There's not going to be a lot of 1-for-1 trades.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think Brad Stevens has his work cut out for him. It'll be interesting to watch. I think I don't know if I don't know. I'm trying to think who else is untouchable. I think Tatum is untouchable. I'm not sure everybody else is untouchable.
It's just 3 guys, I think. Derek White's untouchable because you're not trading Derek.
I would think Derek White's untouchable. You could get huge value for Peyton Pritchard. And I love Peyton Pritchard, and I want him to be a Celtic.
You could get huge value for Derek White or Peyton Pritchard.
Right. I mean, Sam Hauser, you're going to get value, but you're going to get 2 or 3x for Peyton Pritchard. Everyday guard who can put 20, 25 points up a game, no problem. Like, no, he does it off the bench, let alone as a starter, right? I mean, you partner him with a Porzingis and or a Holiday, but I would hate to lose him. I think he's crazy good and crazy valuable. And unguardable. Literally unguardable. He told us so himself. No one can guard him.
You love to bring that up.
I love to bring that up because it's just so awesome. Because nobody's unguardable.
He is.
He is. So, Pritch, please. You're guardable. So I think those are the obvious things. And now I think the work for Stevens is who and where and what. I think he knows who he's going to move. Like I have to believe they've already sort of decided this.
Here's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping the owner just tells him how much money we need to get down to.
Yeah.
And then Brad Stevens decides what he wants to do. I don't want the owner making the decisions on who to move.
I don't think that's this organization. That's a Dallas Cowboys. That's a New York Jets. That's some other organizations. I don't think that's how the Celtics are run, because Chisholm, who loves basketball, I don't think he would pretend to know the answers to this stuff, right? And you don't hire the caliber of people like a Missoula and like a Stevens and an Ainge and all these guys if you don't give them power. Like, you give them the goal is win a championship. This is how much money you have. Go do your job. And if you don't do your job, you're out of here. And you do your job, congratulations. Keep your job. That's how it's got to work.
Yeah. I quickly want to talk about Joe Missoula. This was an awful coaching job from Joe Missoula in these playoffs.
Well, I would say in the Knicks, yes. I don't think in Orlando was as bad. I didn't love it. It was serviceable. I think it was a partnership here. I don't think Missoula did a great job, and the players let him down also. At the end of the day, like, you can't complain. If you watch the Celtics games, especially the last one, open looks. I mean, these were not
there wasn't
fade away into the stands shots.
There wasn't a single contested 3 in this whole series. Like,
so
there were some dumb things that Joe Missoula did, keeping Porzingis in too long in some of these
sure.
games, some other little.
He made some coaching mistakes,
yeah.
but I actually put this more on the players. You got to make shots, especially when you're that. Now, Missoula, the coaching piece of it, I think, is when your team is not performing, you've got to adjust. Like, number one, you got to throw the ball, you got to hit the ball, you got to sink the ball, you got to, shoot the puck in the net. That's your job. In the absence of that, the coach has got to step in and make decisions. And that's why I think Missoula did not pivot hard enough and fast enough.
Yeah, I mean, you shoot under 30% in 3 out of the 6 games. Like, obviously, you're not winning this series. Like, they hit maybe the worst slump of this era at the wrong time.
Yep. Well,
like, there was not a single contested shot in this series. Yeah. Every single 3 was open.
Well, I don't, not everyone, but they had good.
I think it's like 80% of the 3s were 4 or 5 feet in space.
And you know what? Kudos to the Knicks. The Knicks said the number 1 3-point shooting team of the season can't hit a 3. Let them shoot 3s, and they won. You're on mute.
It wasn't that. They were trying to get up and defend them. They just couldn't. The Celtics destroyed them offensively. They just couldn't finish the clip.
I think Mazzulla. I'll tell you this about Joe Mazzulla. I think as we all know, he's incredibly thoughtful. He's very smart, and we have seen over the last 2 years, the coach is coachable, right? The coach gets better. 2 years ago, what the hell is he doing with timeouts? Got way better. So I actually think Mazzulla is going to become he's already a great coach. I think he's going to keep learning and growing from these mistakes. That's his mindset. And so in some ways it's a silver lining, right? Like you get thrown in as the coach and then you win the NBA championship. Okay, great. Well, now the hard part starts.
That's what happened to Eric Spoelstra.
I know.
He won his first 2 championships with LeBron and Wade. And since then, he's become the best coach in the NBA. So
yeah, agree. And I think Mazzulla's on that path. I don't know if he'll become the best coach, but he is already incredibly gifted. Got to give credit. A little bit of a nod back to Theo Epstein, 28 years old, make him the GM of the Red Sox, right? So give a little credit for them for tapping Mazzulla. They thought he was young and early, but the right guy. And I don't disagree. And so it'll be great to see him turn into a true Spoelstra, a true Pat Riley was an incredible coach. Popovich, I think he's on that path. And so I'm going to enjoy watching his growth as a coach because he'll learn from this. I think everybody will, right? But so what do you think our timeline for making decisions is? Obviously, you can't do anything today. Do you think they're going to wait it out, or do you think Brad Stevens is going to strike early and hard and go fast?
Are they allowed to? I don't know if they're allowed to trade before the season's over.
No, but I'm saying as soon as the window opens and you're allowed to, because you got 2 choices. Like a lot of times teams wait, they see how the market develops, right? Or they go early and first and we're making fast, hard moves. Like you saw when Stevens got promoted, it was like 16 seconds before he was on the phone making trades, right?
Yeah. I'm sure the owner, they've already talked, they've already sat down and had a meeting. He's told him exactly what money line they have to get to.
Yeah.
I say right away, Brad Stevens.
I think that's right. I think you're going to see Stevens be active crazy early and head off the market.
I think we might not see it because it depends whether teams accept them or not. But I think right out the gates, he's going to try and make phone calls, try and see if he can get the ball rolling. And we'll see if teams, how they react to it.
Yeah. I mean, I think we might be able to get Cooper Flagg.
Yeah. If Dallas can get Cooper Flagg. Want to trade for Kristaps Porzingis and Jrue Holiday for Cooper Flagg?
And we'll throw in 3 lobsters. All right. No, but I think we're going to see Stevens go hard and go early and shake the roster up right away. I don't think he's going to mess around. Again, there's nothing not messing around. I don't think he's going to play the long game and wait to see stuff. I think he's going to go hard and fast and be decisive because I think that's who he is.
Yeah.
So, all right. Any closing thoughts? I mean, we got a long off season here, longer than we want, but
yeah, I mean, right. First time in 4 or 5 years, you're out in mid-May. We've never seen this before.
Well, it's been a while. I wouldn't say never. Some of us are older than you have seen it before, but
not in the last 5 years or so.
No, it's been a while since we haven't had deep runs in the playoffs. So, but what are you going to do? Keep the faith. You root for your team. Win, lose, draw. That's how it goes. It's your team. Yeah. So, go C's.
Yeah, there's multiple silver linings from this season and this off season, and for next season, right? You have time for young guys to develop. You have Derek White, Peyton Pritchard. They could step up into huge roles next season.
Yeah.
So
the tornado leveled the house, but the basement's still intact. That's good.
Exactly.
That's good.
Exactly. Yeah, the part that you need the most is
you got the second fridge in the basement. That's important.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, we'll wrap it up here. Thanks as always for joining. We'll try and keep you updated throughout the rest of these playoffs a little bit, and then obviously throughout the summer when things start to roll. I'll be live with some reactions to other games in these playoffs here, and then highlights and whatever throughout the rest of the playoffs. Maybe we'll talk in next weekend or something, maybe a little later on, see if we learn anything from maybe these playoffs. Maybe a couple reactions to some of these games or whatever, and any news we learned about the Celtics. But yeah, follow on social media.
Wait, hang on. Before we do the final footer on it, we can't end the show without predictions. I think.
Oh, that's right. Your
We
favorite.
got to
part.
finish predictions. I think Pacers are going to annihilate the Knicks. I think it's going to be an embarrassing loss for the Knicks.
That's what Paul Pierce thinks.
I think he's right. I think the Pacers look nasty. I
already got my finals prediction.
Okay, give it to us. Give me the other side.
It is Wolves over Pacers in 6.
That's not a bad call. I actually think the Nuggets beat the Thunder today. That's my call.
Really?
I think the Nuggets I think the Nuggets win. I know they're not the favorite. I think the Nuggets win. They've taken them to 7. I think those guys in the 7th game are just. But I think you're right.
What happened last year in Game 7? It blew a 20-point lead to the Wolves at half.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right about the Wolves. I think the Wolves
are
win
not
it all.
too unfamiliar with 20-point leads.
I think the Wolves win it all. I think that's a good call. No, and I did not.
Which I think will be great for the NBA. I mean,
great.
The NBA does not want the Pacers winning. Let's be honest.
But you know what though? To be totally honest,
Halliburton's a great player. He's an All-NBA player for sure.
Yeah,
he's not Anthony Edwards.
But to be honest, what's good for the NBA? Anybody but the Nuggets wins. I mean, I think it's actually not bad if the Nuggets win, right? Because they're still kind of a newish developing franchise, right?
They
but
win. I mean,
Pacers win, Knicks win, haven't won in 25 years or longer. No, I haven't been to the conference in 25 years.
The country would erupt if the Knicks won.
I know, but that's actually good for the NBA, even though I don't want them to win, right? The Wolves is a great win. The Pacers is a great win. Middle America, any of these, we have great options. If the Celtics aren't going to win and the Lakers aren't going to win, I actually think these are all good for basketball if these other teams win.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, are people following the league right now, that don't normally watch? Are you tuning into a Pacers finals normally?
You're not tuning into I don't think you are. I think you're tuning into more. You probably know about
more people know about Anthony Edwards than they do about Tyrese Halliburton. So
yeah, the best thing for the NBA is if the Knicks make the finals.
That is
right. True. Knicks versus anybody is going to.
Knicks versus Wolves. Knicks versus Thunder would be a great.
Knicks versus anybody that's going to draw more, right? The coasts draw more. We know that. L.A., San Francisco, New York, Boston.
That's where everyone's central. So.
Not everybody, but yeah, they like more. So, but I think silver lining in all this is I think anybody who wins at this point is kind of a win for the NBA. I actually think if the Celtics won, and again, we always want them to win, I actually think it's less good for the NBA. It's going to feel they just bought another championship. They had the biggest payroll. It's like the Yankees winning or something, right?
Yeah, I agree.
All right, now give us the closing.
That's how it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Close us out.
All right. Once again, Celtics fall short of their goals, losing in 6 games to the New York Knicks in basically a non-showing in that final Game 6. We'll be back next weekend, probably us two, and obviously I'll be here throughout the week with different videos and whatever. And so until next time, go Seas.
Go Seas.
It's over. Time to say it again, Boston. Anything's possible. Banner number 18 has been secured.